This is a story from AM Story, a calm tale filled with meaning. Sit back, relax, and let the story gently touch your heart. I never saw it coming. How heartbreak would become my launching pad. I was just a barista in a small coffee shop, living paycheck to paycheck. She, her name was Dira, came from a prestigious lawyer family. Wealthy, poised, ambitious. But everything changed that day. She said one sentence I'll never forget. "We're not on the same level, Rack. You're just holding me back." And when she came back years later, not to apologize, but to destroy me, I realized this isn't about love anymore. It's about pride, and it's time. My name is Raka. I was 25 and working as a barista at the coziest corner cafe in town. I believed in dreams, big ones. Every morning I'd open up, pull shots of espresso, and imagine owning my own place someday. That hope kept me going. Dira was different. She wore crisp designer suits and spoke with that polished confidence only wealth could buy. We'd been dating for 2 years, and I convinced myself that love would bridge our worlds. I thought, if I hustle, I'll earn my place beside her. Then everything fell apart on a blue Tuesday. The cafe was quiet. I handed her a perfectly frothed cappuccino. She glanced up, eyes distant. "Rack, we're done," she said, no emotion. My heart froze. "What do you mean?" Her lips curved into something cold. "You're nice, you know, but you're nothing special. I don't want to waste time on someone average." Average, just that word. She stood, dropped a few bills on the table, and walked out without another glance. The door chimed softly behind her. I sat there, drink still hot at my table. The steam rose, like words unsaid. I curled up in my chair, chest tight, tears mixing with that last sip of cappuccino. I was stunned, humiliated. Weeks passed. I went to work mechanically, avoiding memories. Every cup I made felt like a reminder of her final judgment. The cafe felt smaller. Other baristas whispered about the rich girlfriend who dumped him. Every day became a lesson. Love without self-worth was a gamble. But something beneath all that pain started to shift. That same day she left, I made a promise, quiet and fierce. I wouldn't stay average. I'd rise, not for her, for myself. The days after Dira left were strange. Not loud, not explosive, just quiet in all the wrong ways. I still showed up at the cafe every morning, clocked in, made coffee, smiled at customers like nothing happened. But inside, I was hollow. Every corner reminded me of her. The table by the window where she used to read court case files while sipping flat whites. The spot near the counter where she kissed me goodbye before heading to meetings. It was like she'd ghosted the place, and I was the only one haunted. I remember one night I stayed after hours wiping the espresso machine over and over, even though it was already clean. My manager, Pakjaya, patted my back and said gently, "Some people don't see gold when it's still in the dirt, Knock. Let them go." I nodded, but I didn't believe him yet. Then came the whispers. Dira had moved on. Fast. Some lawyer from her dad's firm. Handsome, rich, already had a house in Menteng. My chest tightened every time I heard their names in the same sentence. I hated myself for still checking her social media. That's when I realized something painful. She never really saw me as a partner. I was just convenient. Fun for a while. Safe until someone better came along. That thought burned me. But pain has a strange way of planting seeds. One night, after wiping down the tables alone, I pulled out a small notebook I'd kept for years. Business ideas, dream cafe names, weird latte art sketches. It had dust on it. I hadn't touched it since we started dating. I opened to the first page. Dream big, even if no one believes in you yet. And for the first time in weeks, I smiled. One night, the cafe was almost empty. Rain tapped softly on the windows. I stayed late to clean up, but really, I just didn't want to go home. As I wiped tables, I looked around and realized something painful. This place, this job, it had become my hiding spot. A safe bubble where no one expected me to be more. But deep down, I wanted more. So I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I opened my old notebook, the one where I used to jot down cafe concepts, coffee bean research, weird flavor combinations. I flipped to a page titled Dream Cafe Rocca's Roast. I laughed bitterly. It felt childish, but something in me stirred again. That same week, I signed up for a free online business course. I watched videos during lunch breaks, read late into the night, and even started roasting small batches of beans at home, experimenting with flavor profiles. My room smelled like a coffee lab. People started noticing. A regular at the cafe, a quiet older man named Mr. Hartono, asked about the new blend I served him. When I told him I roasted it myself, his eyes lit up. "You've got something special, son," he said. "Don't waste it." That was the moment I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I wasn't just heartbroken anymore. I was hungry. Over the next year, I lived like a ghost, but not the sad kind, the focused kind. I worked the cafe mornings, roasted beans in the evenings, studied business at night. No parties, no dating, just hustle. I rented a tiny space in a back alley and turned it into a one-man roastery. It was hot, cramped, and smelled like burnt coffee half the time, but it was mine. I started selling my own blends under the name Rocca Roast. I designed simple packaging using Canva and printed labels at a local shop. Orders were slow at first. Friends, neighbors, a few curious cafe regulars. But each sale felt like a step away from my past. Meanwhile, Dira had disappeared from my thoughts. Until she didn't. One day, someone forwarded me a gossip article. Young lawyer couple splits amid cheating allegations. There she was, Dira, red-eyed, standing outside a courthouse. Her perfect world had cracked. And you know what? I didn't feel joy. I felt free. That night, I made my boldest move yet. I applied to rent a booth at a local food expo. The fee was high, but I used every rupiah I had saved. It was risky, but I told myself, if you want to rise, you have to step into the light. The expo was packed. I stood behind my little booth wearing a thrifted black apron with my brand name stitched in red, Rocca Roast. I'd practiced my pitch 100 times. My voice shook at first, but soon it became natural. People stopped, tasted, bought. Then I heard a voice I hadn't heard in 2 years. "Rocca?" I froze. I looked up, and there she was, Dira. She was thinner, sharper somehow, still beautiful, still dressed like she ruled the room. But her eyes, not cold this time, curious, maybe regretful. "Wow," she said, scanning my booth. "This is yours?" I nodded. "Yeah, all mine." She smiled, but it was tight. "Didn't expect this. You've changed." I stayed silent. I didn't owe her anything. Then she picked up a bag of coffee and read the label. "Rocca Roast. Catchy." I almost laughed. That name came from a dream she once mocked, and now she was holding it in her hands. She looked at me, softer now. "Want to grab coffee sometime?" I leaned forward calmly. "I'm busy serving real customers, Dira, but thanks." Then I smiled, and for the first time I watched her walk away. After the expo, things exploded. A local influencer posted about my coffee. Orders doubled, then tripled. I hired 2 staff, upgraded my machines, built a tiny coffee bar in the front of my roastery. It became a hidden gem in the city. People came not just for the coffee, but for the story. Is it true the founder started with nothing? Did he really get dumped and come back stronger? I never confirmed anything, but the story spread anyway. Then came the message. Dira. She texted me out of the blue. "Hey, been thinking about you. Can we talk?" I stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to ignore her. Another part wanted to hear what she had to say. So I agreed. We met at a fancy restaurant, her choice. She was dressed like old times, confident smile, but I could tell. Something was off. She talked fast, laughed too hard. Then she dropped it. "I miss us. I made a mistake, Rack. We were good together." I sipped my tea slowly. Then I said, "You didn't miss us. You missed the old me, because the new me doesn't need your approval anymore." She blinked. I stood, left some cash, and walked out. It was over, this time on my terms. Life has a funny way of giving closure, even when you're not looking for it. A few months later, I was invited to speak at a young entrepreneur event. When I walked on stage, I saw a familiar face in the crowd. Dira, sitting near the back, alone. I gave my talk, told my story. Not about heartbreak, but about resilience. About starting with nothing but a broken heart and turning it into a brand. I kept it professional, classy. Afterward, people came up to shake my hand, take photos, ask questions. Dira approached quietly. "I didn't know you'd become this," she said. I smiled. "That's because back then you didn't care to look." She looked down. "I was wrong." I nodded. "You were." And then I walked away. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to destroy her. Just standing where I was while she sat in silence, that was enough. It's funny. The pain that once broke me ended up building me. People always think revenge means getting even, that it's about payback, about making the person who hurt you suffer. But that's not it. At least not for me. I didn't build my brand to prove Dira wrong. I built it because I finally started believing in myself. All those years I spent trying to be enough for her? Wrong target. Turns out the only person I ever needed to impress was me. Now my cafe has 2 branches. My beans are sold in 6 cities. And every time someone drinks a cup of Raka roast, they're tasting a piece of that journey. The heartbreak, the healing, the grind. I don't hate Dira. Not anymore. In fact, I'm grateful. If she hadn't walked away when she did, maybe I wouldn't have walked towards something greater. So if you're sitting in your own version of heartbreak, dumped, betrayed, left behind, don't chase closure, chase growth. Let them go. Let the pain fuel you. Let the silence sharpen you. And when you rise, don't look back for applause. Just keep walking. Because real power, it's quiet. It doesn't need permission, and it never begs to be seen. End.